Hey, Charlene. You can't? Okay. So you can't hear me? No? Okay, I'm just gonna. Okay, you can hear, right? Okay, perfect. I thought there was a problem. It's good then. Okay, we still have people are joining. Wow, we have quite a international group today. So I can see some of you are already in the kitchen. I'm not sure if you're going to be cooking along with me today or if you're just going to be watching. But it seems like some of you guys are going to be cooking, so it's good. It's a good sign. It's a good beginning. Awesome.
Ya, bueno, esto.
Okay, so there are still some people are joining. Maybe we can just start with a little bit of a introduction of myself. And if there's anyone else out there who wants to introduce themselves, we can do that as well. And in the meantime, everyone can join and we can just move on to the cooking process. All right. So one more time, welcome to Istanbul. My name is Aysegul. It is very Turkish name, so it's a little hard to pronounce. You can just call me Ayş if that's easier. We are going to be cooking some type of meze dishes today. Everything is very simple. I will be showing you everything step by step, so no worries on that. But if you have any questions, go ahead, unmute yourself, and you can just ask me. We have plenty of time for everything. So yeah, I was born and raised in Istanbul. I am a professional chef here in Istanbul as well. In a non-COVID world, I'm working in a restaurant. I'm also doing a little tour guiding as well here in Istanbul. So over here, I get to do a little bit of both. I get to cook and I get to, like share a little bit about Turkish food today. So it's kind of like a nice combination. Is there anyone who wants to introduce themselves? We are 18 people right now. Like, or is there any questions before, like about the course, about the food, maybe before starting? Hi, Rebecca. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining. Okay, so Rebecca is joining from North Carolina, from the US, and she asked, why did I choose these dishes? It's a good question. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about, like in detail, about the meze dishes in general, and I specifically choose these ones. Well, the first reason is I really like these ones specifically, and they're very easy to cook. They're like very flavorful with very simple ingredients. And I think most of the ingredients in here is very easy to find, like anywhere in the world. So this is pretty much why I chose it. Do you guys have any other questions about maybe the ingredients or like the equipments? Like, do you have any like questions in your mind about the food? Okay, it's already been like 5 minutes, so I think we can just go ahead and start. I just want to tell you a little bit about the meze dish. So when you say meze, it's not like one specific dish in here. It's a type of appetizer. It is very popular here in Turkey. So we have probably over like 100 types of different meze dishes. Like hummus, tzatziki, baba ganoush. These are, I think, the most famous one. I mean, like these are a type of meze dishes as well. Most of them are just served cold, and they're just kind of like a sauce or like a dip, and they're mostly vegetarian. So it's a kind of like a good variety on your table. Everything that we're cooking today is vegetarian as well. So like this is good for like pretty much everyone. If you just exclude some of the cheese and everything, you can just substitute with different stuff as well. And you can just make it vegan as well. If there's any like diet preferences over there, just let me know on the chat, and I can just give you some of the substitutions, some of the alternatives that you can use. Okay, Rebecca said, yeah, thanks for picking vegetable dishes to make. Yeah, I really like it as well. Turkey is actually known with, you know, like mostly the kebabs and, you know, like spicy food, maybe some baklava and everything. It is true, we have a lot of kebabs in here, but when you say Turkey, it's like a big country and each region has very different food. So kebab is only very popular in the eastern part. In the eastern part of Turkey, there's like so many different types of kebabs, very spicy. Everything is very good, actually. I really like that too. But if you're a vegetarian, vegan, it's very easy to eat in here. Here in like Istanbul, in the Mediterranean side, most of the home cooking is very vegetarian friendly. So it's quite easy to have. Okay. So when you say meze dishes, I'm seeing that most of you have some cocktails over there. That's a good choice because the typical way that we have the meze dishes is to have it with some type of like alcohol. The typical way, the very traditional way to do that here in Turkey is to have some raki. So raki is a traditional drink in here, traditional alcoholic drink. I'm not sure if any of you ever tried it. If you can just write it on chat. No? Okay. Well, I think it's, okay. So, well, when you say raki, it is very typically Turkish, but there are similar drinks in different regions. Like if you go to the Middle East, there's arak. It's the same thing. Yes. Daylight said that they have the same, like very similar drink as well. And like if you go to Paris, like if you go to France in general, you get the what's called like pastis. It's quite similar as well. Well, it is a separate drink with a very high amount of like licorice taste, anisey taste. It goes perfect with the meze dishes. This is how we do. Okay, when you offer this appetizers. So like as I said, these meze dishes typically go with some type of alcohol, mostly raki or just some wine. And it is usually like an afternoon drink. I mean, it's not like a party drink. The raki is not like a party drink. You just go to a restaurant, you order some raki, you drink a lot, but you are supposed to have these little dishes. So let me just show you one of these my plates. Like this is like a small appetizer plate. Imagine like maybe 10 of these on your plate, on your table, and each one of them are different mezes. And you have a little bit of everything. You have some breads, maybe some crackers, you know, you have it like all together. And this is how we do. Usually it is like an afternoon food as well. But like what I like to do is like, for example, I'm making this today in here. It's around like 10 p.m. in here. So I'll have a little late dinner. And like tomorrow in the morning, some of these, you know, like with the cheesy one, with the tomato paste one, you can have it in the breakfast, like on your toast as well. It goes perfect with that. All the flavors are already combined. So it's like a very like a good leftover food. Okay, so then I said, I usually make them when friends come over for dinner as appetizer. Yes, it's actually like a good idea. This is how we do as well. Kind of like a, yeah, like a little snack food, you can say. You know, like the idea of tapas is quite similar to the, with the Turkish meze dishes. And I especially told you about the raki, because when you say meze, raki usually comes along with that. It's like a like a combination thing. And when you say raki, it is it's a very cultural drink in here. There's like a specific way to drink. There's like a different, there's a specific way to serve in your glasses. There are some specific glasses in here as well. The whole culture of raki is like a huge deal in here. If you ever visit in Istanbul, let me know and I can just like make sure that you have a very authentic raki experience, because it's hard to explain. You have to be there. You just go to these restaurants and you're there with your friends. Okay, so I'm just going to write the name of the drink over here. Raki, so R-A-K-I. So yeah, you just go to these restaurants, kind of like a dive bars. You have a bunch of these meze dishes. You have a big bottle of raki. Well, the raki is about like 40% alcohol, but you're sitting down, you're eating some food, so it doesn't hit super hard in the beginning. So if you're trying it for the first time, you know, be careful. Don't have too much, because you just, you know, like you only realize until you just stand up, you know. Sorry about that. Okay. So I just want to show you a quick video on raki in the beginning, and we can just move on to the cooking part. I'm just going to share my screen. Can you see? Okay.
This is not just a glass. This is a rakı glass. It's a unique experience including hundreds of years of culture. What's rakı then? Basically, rakı is an alcoholic beverage produced by double distilling of alcohol derived from grapes with aniseed. Rakı serving is never a solo act. The meals, side dishes, friends, and music accompany this experience on a rakı table, whether a large or small. This delicious savor pleases more as it is shared. What makes the taste of rakı so special? The raw material of rakı is grapes. Grapes are separated from its stems and then pressed, the liquid fermented by using special yeast and scented distillation units. During the first distillation process, the grape distillate called suma is formed. The suma is distilled one more time in specially designed and manufactured copper alembics to obtain a clear product with a charming taste. Lastly, the most important ingredient giving the savor of rakı, called aniseed, is added. Rakı is matured for at least 30 days. Then they are bottled, and the journey starts to be consumed with music, meals, and friends on someone's rakı table and become fond memories. We told you it's not just a glass. This is a 500-year culture. This is a guide for you to unrush your life and increase the joy with your beloved ones. This is Yeni Rakı.
Okay, so I think it gives you a little bit of an introduction on the raki drink. So if you're all ready, we can just move on to the cooking process. As I said earlier, feel free to ask any questions. If I'm not able to, answer it during the cooking, I can just definitely answer it in the end. And if it's an urgent thing, go ahead and unmute yourself and let me know what you have. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. So we are going to make 3 different types of meze dishes today. We are going to start with the carrot tartar. It is quite simple. I'm just going to use some carrots, some mayonnaise, some yogurt over here. I'm going to use a lot of garlic with that, and I'm going to use some walnuts with that. So if you don't have all walnuts, because we are going to use a lot for all 3 dishes, you can just use different type of nuts as well. If you have almonds, peanuts, cashews, all are going to work. Okay, awesome. Perfect. After the carrot one, we're just going to move on to the acuka. So acuka this is my favorite. It is quite spicy. It has kind of like a savory taste inside. It is a type of like a red paste that you just like spread on your toast. It's very nice. I really like it. And the last one that we're making is Girit Ezme. And it is also quite simple. It is made out of like different cheeses. We will mix it with some herbs. We are just going to bring some extra flavors inside. So amongst all these dishes, only the carrot tartar, the first one, is going to be, you know, like cooked on the stove. It will also be served, you know, like cold. All of these are going to be served cold, but only the carrot tartar is going to be cooked. So otherwise, everything is just going to be, you know, like we will bring ingredients together, do a little chopping, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so if you're ready, we can start with the carrot. I'm using 3 carrots, but mine are smaller. If you have the bigger ones, you can have 2 of them. I'm going to peel these guys. So we are starting with peeling our carrots. All right. I'm going to take it slow so everyone can follow me. But as I said earlier, it's not going to take too long. I think the whole cooking session is going to take about 45 minutes. And then you can move on to, you know, like enjoying your dishes over there. And I hope you have some like good breads, maybe like some crackers with that. It's perfect with the meze dishes. Everything will goes in kind of like a dip form, you know, like spreadable. This is what makes it, you know, a bit more enjoyable, you know, like kind of like a sharing food. By the way, all of these recipes are for 2 servings. So if you're a bit more crowded over there, feel free to, you know, double the recipe. Or if you want to, you know, make it only for 1 person, you can do that by making only the half of the recipe. It's all good. So I'm just going to use one of these, you know, like frying pan. Just waiting for me. What I will do with my carrots, I'm just going to cut the tips. All right. So we want to grate these carrots. I hope you have a grater. If not, you can just simply use your knife, cut these ones into maybe like rings, or you can just cut it into small pieces. All of them are going to work. Like for example, let me show you. You can either do these ones like little rings. They will also work. Or you can just use your knife and cut these ones into like small cubes. However you prefer. The typical way is to grate them because it makes it easier to, you know, cook it in like smaller pieces. You can do that as well. But as I said earlier, if you have a grater, go ahead and use that. I'm just going to use my knife just to, you know, like confirm if anyone's out there who doesn't have a grater. We're just cutting our carrot pieces into small pieces. And right after that, we will transfer this into our pan with a little bit of an olive oil. We will just give it a little frying, you know. We're just going to saute these carrots just a little bit. And once you just start cooking these ones, you know, the natural sugar inside the carrot will be released. It will kind of caramelize, gives a little bit of a, you know, like caramelly sweet taste. This is what we want to have. They will barely, you know, like smooth, get smoother, softer inside. We don't want to, you know, like mash them. We don't want to mush them. We just want to, you know, like give it a little bit of a heat, little bit of a cooking, but that's it. Once you're done with these ones, the ones that you do, you can just simply go ahead and transfer them into your frying pan. So there's not going to be like too much space for the carrot on your cutting board. So I was saying that if you're vegetarian or vegan, it's very easy to eat here. But the thing is, if you're, let's say, gluten-free, unfortunately, it's not very easy to eat in here because we do like our breads in here. There's like a lots of bread in here that comes with different dishes. It's hard to, avoid from them. So like if you're gluten-free and live in Istanbul, make sure you get your own bread, It's hard to find the gluten-free ones in here. All right. I think 2 is gonna do for me as well. It seems smaller in the beginning, but I think I'm not gonna use the third one. So everyone can follow, guys? Everything's going good so far? All right. So what we are going to do the next is I'm using some olive oil. If you prefer to use a different oil, it's also fine, however you prefer. I'm just going to drizzle maybe like a little bit of it, not much, just to avoid the carrots to stick into my pan. I just poured a little, drizzled a little bit of an olive oil, and I'm just going to put this on my stove. Turn the heat on medium. And I'm just going to use one of these spatulas. Give it a little stir. Make sure I just spread all the carrot pieces evenly. And I will leave this one over here for a second. Once in a while, we want to keep on checking our carrots. Give it a little, like stir. In a few minutes, you will start hearing the sizzle of the pan anyway. So it will let you know when it's time to give it another stir. Okay. So if you're all ready with your carrots, if everyone's carrots is on the stove, we can just start making the sauce of the carrot tartar. So the sauce of the carrot tartar is simply just some yogurt. I have over here. We are using some mayo. And I'm going to use some, about like 2 cloves of garlic. I'm going to like mash these garlic. So if you have like a little garlic masher, you can use that. Otherwise, feel free to use your knife.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
The heat, is it too hot or?
It is medium.
Low, medium. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. So right now my pan is sizzling. I heard it. So I'm just giving another stir, just a little. If you've been grating your carrots, I'm sure this happened much faster. Because as I said, if you grate it, your carrots, it will cook much faster as well. I just gave it another stir and I'm leaving it over here. And I'm going back to my sauce. So I have my yogurt over here. You can use a Greek yogurt, Turkish yogurt, anything that doesn't have any sweetness will work. I'm using about half a cup of yogurt over here. If you are not in US, and if you're not using, like the cup measurements, what I like to do is, like use one of these mugs and just like do the half of it. It will still work. We are not baking a cake. We're not making cookie. You don't have to, like stick with the grams all the way. So I have my like half cup of yogurt over here. I'm using 2 tablespoons of mayo. I'm just going to add this right into my yogurt. And I will just add my garlic into my yogurt mixture as well. We want to, like mash these, make sure that they are completely mashed, the garlics. And don't forget to, stir your carrots once in a while. you will see the color is changing a little bit. It will get a bit more like brighter in color, less orangey. It's a good thing. Just give it a few stirs once in a while. So we are adding 2 cloves of garlic into my mixture. If you don't have a garlic like masher, you can use your grater or your knife, as I'm doing. All you want to do is simply just dice your garlic into small cubes first. And I'm just going to use, once I'm done with, like smashing these little pieces, I'm going to use a pinch of salt on top of it. This is kind of like giving a little grind, and it will make it like easier to mash it. And like I simply just mash it with my knife, back of my knife. It makes it really easy to do that. Okay, I think we have a questions. Let me just check. After the yogurt, what ingredient did you add? Oh, okay, so far I added half a cup of yogurt, and I added 2 tablespoons of mayo inside my yogurt. And the next thing that I will add is my garlics. I'm just mashing my garlics, 2 garlic cloves, and I will just add them into my sauce. Okay, I think my carrots are already done. We don't want to cook them. We don't want to cook them all the way. As you can see, the color is a little brighter. You can just take a small piece and, like taste it. It should be still a little crunchy. It shouldn't be like all the way, like soft. So if it's a little crunchy still, it's fine. Just take it off the heat, turn off the heat. If it feels like too crunchy in your mouth, if you prefer, you can just give it another few minutes on the stove, however you prefer. Just make sure that you don't overcook them. We want to have a little bit of a crunch on our mouth. So I have my carrot off the stove. I'm just going to let it rest over here, and I'm back to my sauce. So again, so far I have my yogurt, I have my mayo in, I am adding my garlics. Garlics and walnuts are going to be the star of today. We're going to use some of them. I really like garlics. It's kind of like a secret ingredient that makes everything delicious. So we are making sure that we're just mixing all of the ingredients all together. The garlic, mayo, garlic, like yogurt. You're just giving the nice stir. All right. So my sauce is ready. The last ingredient that I want to add is my walnuts. So I'm going to use about half a cup of walnuts for this. As I said earlier, if you want to use a different type of nut, you can do that. So in the beginning, if you have one of these like little food blenders, yeah, you can use that to, crush, like have a grinded walnuts. It is easier. You can also use this for the next recipes as well. So you can just keep it over here. Again, I'm just going to use my knife. So we are using about half a cup of walnuts. I'm going to mix it with some hazelnuts. And we will just give it a nice grind from these. We just want to make sure like they are well grinded, but not like a powder. You can just have a little bit of big pieces inside, So after this, we are almost done with the carrot tartar. like the idea of tartar, it's like a whole concept on meze here in Turkey as well. What I'm saying is like this is called the carrot tartar, but we have the zucchini tartar, pumpkin tartar. So you can use different ingredients and do it the same way. You know, instead of grating the carrot, you can grate the zucchini, cook it the same way and mix it with the same type of sauce. It is really nice as well. So again, about a half a cup of walnuts, we are just giving the nice grind. Let me just show you mine. Mine is looking like this. It has some, you know, like big pieces inside, not like all the way powdered. You can do a little bit finer than this as well. And after you're done with this, you can just add it into your sauce. These will be, you know, like mixed with the yogurt sauce. All right. Like the whole idea of meze dishes is because they're also quite healthy, actually. I really like that idea as well. There's nothing, you know, like that fries too much. No, like there's nothing that has like too much carbs inside as well. It is like mostly some vegetables, some, you know, like dairy products, like good yogurt, the cheeses. I think like the meze dishes in general is actually like a good, how to say, good reflection of the Turkish food as well, because you have so many different meze dishes and each one of them has like a little bit of, you know, like influence from everywhere. Okay, so again, once again, if you're done with the walnuts, you can just go ahead and add it into your sauce, into your yogurt sauce, and give it another mix. With all the natural fat of the walnut, the sauce is going to get a bit more thicker. This is what all the flavor is going to come from as well. I think it's pretty much enough for me. So I have my chopped nuts inside. I'm giving it a little mix with everything. In the meantime, my carrot is getting a little colder. It's good. As I mentioned earlier, it's a dish that is served cold. So we don't want them to be, you know, like super hot before adding the sauce inside. Otherwise, you know, the yogurt is gonna get a bit more, you know, like curdly. It's not gonna be good. So before mixing everything all together, you should go ahead and taste your sauce. I added a little salt with my garlic, so my sauce already has some salt inside. If you feel like the salt is, you know, like missing over there, go ahead and add about like a half a teaspoon of salt. You can just, you know, like be the judge on the salt. Go ahead and just add a little bit of it. Give it a mix. If it needs more, you can add more. Remember, your carrots are a little sweet. So if your sauce a little extra salty, not much, but just a little, it will give a nice balance with the sweetness. So with the salt, I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper as well. Again, for about about a half a teaspoon of black pepper, I added, and I'm just giving it another stir. At this point, the sauce is very garlicky. It's very fresh. But once you mix it with the carrots, it will get a bit more lighter. All right, how's it going? Everyone can follow. Awesome. Okay, so the next step is you just grab your serving plate. Yes, that will work. Rebecca just asked me, is it possible to make this without mayo? Yes, you can do that, definitely. Mayo is only there to, give it a little spice into the sauce, a little extra fat, but you can definitely do that without the mayo. Okay, so the next thing is we are just grabbing our plate, serving plate. I will transfer my carrots into my plate. And the next thing I'm doing is I'm adding my sauce into my carrot mixture. So I think my yogurt might be a little thicker than yours. I think this is the Turkish yogurt in here. I'm not sure if yours is a little like thicker or like a bit more runnier. If it's a bit more runnier, I would suggest not to add all of the sauce all in once. Just maybe add only like half of it first, give it a stir. We don't want to have like a soup mixture. We want to have a bit more like a dip mixture. So maybe you can just do it gradually. Only add half of it, give it a mix with your spoon. We'll mix the carrots and the sauce all together. Okay. The texture of mine is looking really good with the, as in, like the texture is not very runny, it's not super thick. I'll just go ahead and add everything. And you just mix everything all together. Once everything is combined, you can just give it another taste. This is the point where you can do the last touches. If it needs more pepper, black pepper, you can do that. I'm sorry. And if it needs more salt, you can do that at this point as well. Okay, once you're done mixing your carrots, we will just place this into fridge in the meantime before making the other mezze dishes, and we will leave this into cooling in the fridge. So in the end, I will show you a way to like serve everything, but right now we are done with this. This goes to the fridge. Oh yeah, it looks good. Yeah, let me just bring it and let me just show you. I think it's pretty much the same. Really good for you as well. Okay. Mine is looking like this. Yeah, let me see that. I think it looks good. It looks right. You don't need an extra yogurt, yeah. Okay, yeah, that looks good as well. Let me see everyone's, yeah. It looks good as well. It's not like super runny, part that looks really good. I think you guys are all grated your ingredients.
I used this special carrot, which is a violet color. So one orange carrot and one violet one, so that it gives a little bit of color, you know.
Oh, nice. Is it like purple?
Yeah, yeah. One purple carrot and one.
That looks really good.
Yeah, thank you.
How was the taste? Have you tasted?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, good.
It's colorful, yeah.
Awesome. I think everyone did quite well with that. So as I said earlier, guys, the only thing that we want to add on this in the end, maybe a little bit of herbs, maybe a little bit of olive oil. But for now, we're done with this. We're just going to keep it in the fridge and move on to the second dish, yeah? All right, is there any questions on the first dish? Everything's good? Okay, so let's just move on to the second one. The second dish is Acuka. It is quite simple. I think it's the most simple one. I have my tomato paste over here. I'm using about 3-4 tablespoons of tomato paste. I'm not sure the texture of yours, but mine is also quite thick over here. It's technically not like a tomato puree. I think you have the Turkish one, I'm not sure. Okay, so I have my 3 tablespoons of tomato paste into my little bowl. And what I will do is simply I will add some extra, you know, like spices, some extra, you know, like ingredients to give it a little taste. So first of all, of course, I'm going to use some garlic with that. So if you're making with 4 tablespoons, we are just going to add 2 cloves of garlic. Again, I want to mash these ones quite fine. Before starting, guys, as I said earlier, if you have one of these, you can make this whole like entire recipe inside of this. So instead of bringing everything into your little bowl, you can bring everything into your food blender, and in the end, you can just give it a mix, yeah? So I'm going to add my garlics. I'm gonna give it a nice chop. If you have a garlic crusher, you can do that. If you're doing this into your food blender, you don't have to worry about, you know, like mashing or, you know, like dicing your ingredients. You can just add everything all together into your food blender. So I have a question from Hawia. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but he said, is it possible to substitute the tomato paste with the fresh tomato puree? You can do that, but the texture is gonna be different. I think you will still get the, you know, the good taste of it, you know, with all the, because most of the flavor is coming from this additional ingredients that we added. But if you want to do that, I will say give it a try. I think it will still taste quite good. So
Okay,
you can.
thank you.
Sure. Okay, so into my garlics, I'm adding my into my tomato paste, I'm adding my garlics inside. The next thing that I want to add is some olive oil. So I'm adding about a 1/4 cup of olive oil into my mixture, more or less. So yeah, Rebecca said, my guess is that pure has more water content, maybe reduce on salt to dehydrate a bit. You can also do that, definitely. As I said like earlier, the texture is not gonna be as like what we do. And if you want to reduce it on the stove, you have to wait until it gets cold. I think with the tomato puree, it will still, you know, like taste good, quite good. Only it will be a bit more, you know, like a bit more runnier in texture, but it's good. I think it will still taste nice. So far I have my tomato paste, I have my garlic, I have my olive oil.
Can we substitute tomato paste with bell pepper paste? I'm not a big fan of tomato paste.
Yes, you can do that. Sure. Like typically, where are you living from? Where are you living?
Frankfurt.
Okay, yes, you can do that. Over here, we are actually making this recipe with a little bit of tomato paste, a little bit of red pepper paste. But the red pepper paste is not very like available usually everywhere. And the ones in here is like super spicy. So I find this one like much nicer, but if you prefer, you can do that.
I'm going to use Ivar instead of tomato paste since I don't eat tomatoes. So let's give it a try with Ivar.
Let's do that. Just be careful with the salt content because I think Ivar already has some salt and we will add some salt into this as well. So just make sure that, you know, like be careful with the salt inside.
Okay.
Okay, so I have my tomato paste, garlic, olive oil. The next thing that I want to do is add my chopped walnuts again. So again, for this, I'm using another half a cup of walnuts. You can use one of these to make it easier. The size can be the same as the carrot tartar. The walnuts in this recipe, or you know, like any nuts, you have to have some nuts into this recipe because this makes it really rich. Like you can skip it on the carrot tartar, but this one definitely needs it. So for this, we are using another about like a half a cup of walnuts. I'm again going to, you know, like mix it up with some hazelnuts. And after that, what we will do is simply add in our spices. We are using different types of spices for this recipe. I'm gonna use some dry mint, which is a very typical herb in here. The dry mints into, you know, like dishes. So dry mint goes into the sauce. We are going to use some cumin, some paprika powder, some black pepper. If you don't have any of these ingredients, like if you don't have the dry mints, if you have the dry basil, you can do that. If you have oregano, you can do that. But if you have mint, dry mint, I would suggest you to do that. All right, the walnuts are also going.
Just a quick question. I couldn't find dry mint, but I found the fresh mint. Can I use it, or you would say no, don't use it?
You can use it. I tried it with fresh mint.
But
before.
less.
Yes.
Not too much.
Yes.
Because the taste is too intense.
Yeah, if you use too much, it will get bitter. So.
Oh.
Yeah,
can I put a little bit, or I don't put anything?
You can just maybe use for this recipe. Are you following the exact same recipe?
Sorry?
Are you following the same measurements as we are?
Yeah.
I think you can maybe use like 4 leaves, only like 4 leaves of it.
Okay.
Then you just chop it really well.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so far I added my walnuts in. I'm giving it another mix. And it's time to add our spices. So if you are using the tomato paste, go ahead, add 1 teaspoon of salt into the mixture before beginning. So we are adding 1 teaspoon of salt. And the next thing that I want to add is my dry mint. I'm adding about 3 tablespoons of dry mint. If you are using oregano, you can use maybe 1 teaspoon of oregano because it will have a, you know, like a bit more strong flavor. I'm going to use my, I'm going to add my cumin. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of cumin powder. And the last thing that I want to do is add my paprika powder. So my paprika doesn't have any like spices inside, you know, like the hot spicy. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of paprika powder. But if you prefer, you can just, you know, like if you like spicy taste a little bit, you can add some extra paprika as well. Really up to your choice. So I'm adding 1 teaspoon of paprika powder as well. And the next thing that I want to do is simply just mix everything all together. Oh, we forgot the black pepper. I'm adding about another half a teaspoon of black pepper. So these type of ingredients like tomato paste, some of these spices, they might have, you know, like different level of strongness in different places, you know, like probably some of the spices are better in here. They are a bit more stronger in taste. And probably, you know, like the tomato paste in here is a little different than the ones that you have in over there. That's why I always say that make sure that you have a little taste before serving of your dish. So after we are done mixing our ingredients, you will just taste, see if it needs anything more. Maybe it is missing a little spiciness, it is missing a little cumin taste. Okay, so mine is looking like this. It's quite thick. So you can just like give it a taste. Okay. I think mine needs a little bit more salt, so I'm just gonna go and do that. Maybe I will add a little bit extra cumin as well. Especially, what's that? Okay. So give it a taste, see if it's missing anything. You know, like if you feel like you wanna have a little extra cumin taste, you can add that. And we are mixing everything all together. Okay, so guys, I also added breadcrumbs into this recipe, you know, in the ingredients of this recipe. It's simply because, as you can see, the texture of my spread is quite thick. But if yours is a little runnier than this, depending on the ingredients that you are using, like if yours is not like spoonable as like this, you know, at this point, you can just add 1 teaspoon of breadcrumbs into your mixture. This will simply just hold the you know, like it will simply just thicken the texture. And yeah, for Javier, if you're using tomato paste, you can use maybe like if you're using tomato puree, you can maybe use 2 tablespoons of breadcrumbs into it to make it a bit more thicker as well. Just don't add too much, otherwise you are just going to use the like you're just going to lose the flavor, but you can have a little bit extra. Okay, so we are done with this spread. So like in a few hours, actually, usually we make this spread a few hours ahead. And in a few hours, all the spices, all the garlics are just combined all together. They're just releasing their flavor and it's like really good. That's especially why I like to eat this in the next day. In the next day, it's perfect for the breakfast. So right now we are done with this. Again, I'm just leaving this into my fridge and moving on to the next dish. All right, everything is going good, guys. Any questions so far? Awesome. Okay, so the last thing that we're making is the Girit Ezme. So Girit Ezme is actually quite simple as well. I'm just going to use 2 different types of cheeses. So I have my goat cheese and I have my feta cheese over here. But if you prefer, you can use different cheeses as well. The only thing that you want to be careful with is you want to have one like salty, very salty cheese and one less salty cheese. So I have my feta that has like very like low amount of salt inside, and the goat cheese is quite high amount of salt inside. You don't want to like combine 2 unsalted or like combine 2 very salty salt cheeses all together. Otherwise, like the taste is gonna be not very appetizing. So make sure you combine, like make sure you like balance the taste. So Bart asks either if both are soft cheeses. For me, the feta is a little softer, and the goat is like harder. You can do both soft cheeses. It's fine. The texture is gonna be still good, you know. You can do both hard cheeses as well, but you can just use some type of like a crumbly cheese in that case. It has to be like crumbling. Yeah. So like whatever you have in your fridge, you can use that. Whatever is your favorite, you can use that as well. So these are like very famous cheeses over here. That's why I'm using it. It's quite simple. I have my cheeses. I have my fork. I'm just going to give it a mash. Simply just bringing them together, combining them with my fork, trying to mash them. The flavors will start combining. Like the texture of mine is a bit more like crumbly at this point, not very like creamy. But if you're using, like soft cheeses, both of them, it will definitely get a little bit more creamy, which is also okay. So into this mixture, as you can see, my cheeses are already quite, like mixed up, but mine is quite crumbly. Just make sure you just give it a nice mix. If you're using, like the soft goat cheese, it will get a harder to, you're just going to have harder time to, like mash them. All right. Also, guys, if you're just having harder time to, mash them, you can use a little olive oil on top of the cheeses. It will just soften them, gives a little bit of a, like the texture, a bit more softness. And we're just mixing everything all together. The olive oil is already smelling really good. So what I'm doing, the next, after the cheeses are done, I hope everyone is done with the cheeses as well. Well, guess what? I'm going to add my walnuts. For this, I'm using less walnuts. I'm using about maybe like a handful of walnuts. If you have almonds, you can do that. About like a handful. When I say handful, I mean something like this. I'm using hazelnuts. Again, I will chop them all the way. And I'm just going to mix it with my cheese mixture. I'm not sure if any of you ever been in Istanbul, but we like to cook with pistachios, like walnuts, hazelnuts. I'm a big pistachio fan. With this, like, I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of baklava. It goes perfect with that. We use those like a lot. We also grow a lot of pistachios and like walnuts and like hazelnuts here in Turkey. That's why it's probably not as expensive as it is in Europe or like probably in US.
So we can exchange the nuts with pistachio if we want to?
Yes, you can do that. Yes. Like you can simply just use a different alternative nuts for any of these recipes. Just try to, use something that has high amount of oil inside, like pistachio, like walnuts. So I have my nuts inside. I'm just giving the rough mix. And I'm going to add my fresh herbs into it. I'm using some parsley over here. I'm just going to simply just dice them, slice them into small pieces. So this is not much, only like about this much. Like it's probably about like a 1/5 of a whole bunch. If you have like basil, I would suggest that as well. It's really good with the cheeses as well. What I'm doing, I simply just fold my, parsley. I just hold it quite tight. And with my knife, I'm just giving the small slices. You don't want to, mash your parsley. You just want to slice them. Just try to make it as small as possible. Just don't be rough on them. Just be gentle so you can still have all the freshness out of your parsley. I have my parsley over here. I'm just going to throw them into my cheeses. I'm giving it another mix with my fork. And after this, let's go ahead and taste our cheese as well. So you can just like see if it needs more salt at this point. It's supposed to look something like this. I think I did a little too much with the parsley, so maybe it looks a bit more whiter. It's fine. We just mix it all together. And we taste. Okay, the salt for me is good. If you feel like it needs more salt, it needs more, like more parsley, more nuts, you can do that. If you are using only parsley, you can also, like add some extra, like dry herbs. I have some dry basil. I like to mix it up with that. But if you want to go with different herbs, you can do that in this recipe as well. All right, we are almost done. We are ready for like the serving of our dishes. I'm just going to grab some plates. One for this. I'm going to use one of these. You can just use like small plates, kind of like an appetizer plates. I'm just going to go and grab the other two dishes as well. All right, they are a little colder now. So starting with my carrot tartar, I'm just giving another mix all together. I already have my serving plate over here. So I'll just simply bring everything all together. I just give it a little straight top over here. All right. Tastes good. So I'm using a napkin. I'll just give it a little wipe from the sides so it looks pretty. Now, extra yogurt, I just wipe the sides of it. And what I'm doing is simply, oops, I'm going to use some paprika powder to give it a little spice and a little extra color. I'm just simply sprinkling some paprika powder on top of it and a drizzle of olive oil. That's pretty much it. Our first dish is ready to serve. So the next thing is our acuka. I'm using a bit more, like flatbread for this. Flat what's it called, like plate for this. So the typical way to serve this spread is, well, you're supposed to have 2 spoons. And using one of them, you just spoon a spoonful of acuka, and using the other spoon, I just simply push them together. Let me just show you. It's called, I think in French, quenelle. It's basically just making, giving you a nice one person like pieces, shareable pieces, and I just simply push them into one to another, and then I will just place it on my plate. I will do this with the other ones. You can do maybe 1 or 2 per person. Again, I'm just basically transferring them together. It gives a nice kind of like an oval shape. This is what we want to have. Or if you're feeling a little lazy, you can just go ahead and serve the whole, like the paste into your bowl. It's obviously an option as well. This is if you want to go a bit more like fancy. So I have my pieces of acuka over here as well. I will serve a little bit of a drizzle of olive oil on top as well. And that's also it. And the last thing that I want to do is to serve my Girit Ezme, the cheese mixture, into my plate. And then I will serve this with another drizzle of olive oil as well. And it should be ready. Here is how my Girit Ezme is looking like. I'm just going to use some extra olive oil, and that's it. Okay, so we have all 3 of our dishes ready. Are you guys also done? So Rebecca just asked me, what would you serve with the tomato paste one? Like for all of these dishes, we are serving with some like flatbread, some like whatever the bread that you have, maybe some crackers. What you do is simply, well, you just have like a little piece, you spread it on your toast, on your cracker, and then have it that way. This is what I like to do for the breakfast tomorrow as well. So she also asked, like, can you recommend some other favorite or classical dishes we can look up after? So when you say Turkish food, it is very variable. But let me just, these are all meze dishes. So let me just type some of these over here. So meze dishes. My favorite is mantı. It's a type of dumpling dish that is served with some type of garlic yogurt. Oh yeah, that looks really good, Daniela. You're done. Your presentation is much nicer. Hey, Charlene, it looks good. Yeah, you taste you liked it. I can't hear you, but yeah. It looks good, Tina. How is the texture? Have you tasted? What else? Lahmacun. So Rebecca also asked, may I ask, will we be receiving the recipes? Yes, after the the session, I can just send you on the like the A Small World's message group. I'm not sure if you received my messages, but I can just send you everything over there. And if you would like to, ask me more questions on the food or on, like on the Istanbul. Oh, wow, you have the toast as well. That looks really good. I hope you'll enjoy it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mars and Rebecca. Thank you
Thank
all.
you so much. It was really, really nice.
Thank you guys all for joining and cooking with me. I hope to see
Thank
you.
you. Thank you all.
We're ready to
Thank
eat.
Thank you.
I love
Enjoy.
the flavors. The flavors are amazing.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Enjoy your food. Yeah.
Thanks. Bye to the other ones.
Bye.
Nice to meet you, girls.
Okay, guys, if you wanna like reach me out on from the A Small World, you can just reach me. And I can just like let you know about the other type of issues as well. Okay, then I'm just going to end the meeting if there is no questions at this point.
Yo creo que tiene que ser una grande, toma. Para que quede más grande.
Okay, I think we can just end the
No,
meeting.
empatado,
Thanks
pues, le
again
damos.
all for joining. Have a great day.
Bye, thank
Have a
you.
great day. Bye.